Cloning domain controllers. Now in Windows Server 2016, it is actually virtualization aware. What domain controllers we configure, it is actually virtualization aware. And we can do what? We can clone the domain controllers. Now, cloning means creating multiple copies of a single domain controller. Previously, we are not able to do the cloning. We are not able to do the cloning, but now we can do the cloning of domain controllers also. We can do the cloning. Previously we can do the cloning of normal Windows servers, but we can't do the cloning of domain controllers. But now we can do the cloning of domain controllers also. So these domain controllers, these cloning we do for the easy deployment and rapid deployment. Rapid deployment, that means if rapidly we want to create 2-3 domain controllers, so what we can do, we can just clone these domain controllers. Now how we can do that? We can do that by using the virtual domain controller. So basically the cloning is for virtual machines, virtual domain controllers. And we use virtual domain controllers basically for easy deployment, so that we can easily and quickly and rapidly deploy multiple domain controllers if we need. And we can do that by cloning also. We can do it by normally we can do that by installing it a fresh one and then creating it a domain controller, or we can do this by cloning. So now you can do what? You might clone the domain controller for what? We do the domain controller cloning for rapid deployment. We can do it for private cloud, and also we can do it for recovery strategies. If suppose we want to take a backup of a domain controller, so we can also take the clone of the domain controller, and then if we lose our main domain controller, then we can take that from clone domain controller, clone one. And we can say that it is actually a recovery from the recovery of the lost domain controller. Now first, if you want to clone the domain controller, so to clone a source domain controller, what we have to do, we have to first add the domain controller to the clonable domain controllers group. So we have to first add the domain controller into the group. There is a separate group for the clonable domain controllers. So we have to add the computer into that group, and then verify the app and services compatibility. This is also important. If suppose we have multiple applications installed on the server, so we have to make sure the applications are compatible for cloning. Some applications may not be compatible for cloning, so we have to verify that the applications we have is compatible for cloning or not. Otherwise those applications will give error. So first, if the applications are not compatible, first we verify it, and if it is not compatible, then we have to remove those applications. And then we will create this DC clone config file, and this file will help you to clone the computer. So first, what we do for cloning, export it once and then create as many clones as needed. That means first we export the virtual machine to a storage, and then we can import that virtual machine as many times as we want. Like we want to clone as many times we want, we can take the import. We can import the machine from the storage where we exported it, and then we can normally start the clones and we can use the clones. So how it works? So first we start the virtual machine, generate the identifier exists. So first when we start the machine, it checks the generation identifier exists or not. Now if it is exist, then virtual machine generation identifier change or not. This is the process of virtual machine. If it is changed, then virtualization safeguard triggered and DC clone config exists or not. It checks the DC clone config file is exists or not, and if it is yes, then clone successfully started. This is the normal process when we start the clone machine. So this is the normal process of starting the clone. So when we start the clone, it checks the generation identifier exists or not. If it is existed, then virtual machine generation identifier changed or not, and if it is changed, then what? Virtualization safeguard triggered, and it checks the DC clone config file, and if it is exist, then it will do the cloning according to that file, and then our clone machine starts. Now in case if it is not exist, the generation identifier is not exist, then it will go to check the clone config file directly. Is it exist or not? And if it is no, then it will start normally. So that means it is not a clone machine, it is a normal domain controller. Now if the file exists, then it will do rename the config file and restart the the directory service restore mode. It will go to directory service restore mode, and it checks the duplicate IP addresses or not. If it is no, then it will start normally. If it is yes, then restart in directory restore mode, directory service restore mode. And if it is no, then it will go on to check again DC config file. And here in this step, if you config file is not exist, then again it will go to this restore mode, that means directory service restore mode. And in this side, if suppose the virtual machine generation identifier is not changed, it is present but it is not changed, then it will go on to see the rename, it will do the rename of clone config file, and then it will start the server normally. And if it is here, if it is a DC clone config file is exist in this step and it is not able to properly clone the machine, if it is failed, then again it will go to the restore mode. So if it is not successful, then always it will go to the restore mode, otherwise it will start normally. So for doing this cloning, what we need, a virtual domain controller. And that first we do what, we add the domain controller into the group. So first we have to add the domain controller into the domain clonable domain controllers group, and then we check the list of available the compatible apps. And then if it is showing any apps which is not compatible, then what we should remove those apps before doing the cloning. This is our server, and in this server this is a domain controller itself, and I have Hyper-V installed here. So I will open the Hyper-V virtual Hyper-V manager, and in that we have one virtual domain controller available. So I will start this one. This is also our domain controller, and I want to do the cloning for this domain controller. Now first what I have to do, I have to make sure this domain controller is member of that group, the group which is used to do the which is define the group of domain controllers, which is clonable domain controller. So what we will do, we will go to domain controller and open the Active Directory and users and computers. Now under this we will see the machine account, the domain controller account. So all the domain controllers account will go to this container. It is domain controllers container. So when you click on it, you will see all the domain controllers, and this is our virtual domain controller. So I will right click on it and go to properties. This is the information about the domain controller. I will go to member of. By default, all the domain controllers will be member of the domain controllers group. Now I want to make this machine, is this domain controller a clone, then what I will do, I will add this machine into one more group. So I will select add, and I will do what, I will go to advanced and I will say find now to get the name, get the group. It shows all the groups available. So here I will select the group which says clonable domain controllers, and I will say OK. That means I want to add this machine account into this domain controllers account into clonable domain controllers group. This group defines that these domain controllers are able to do the cloning. That means we are allowed this domain controller to be a clone. Now we'll go to the virtual machine. So this is our virtual machine, this is our domain controller, it is starting. We'll connect to it. So it is starting right now. So I will log into the virtual domain controller. Okay, so this virtual domain controller is started, and what I will do now, I will go to PowerShell. I will open the PowerShell and I will check the compatible apps. List of compatible apps that is compatible for cloning, and if it is not compatible, then we have to remove those apps. So we run get addc cloning exclude app application list. Now when we run this command, it generates this. So all of these are the services or application it is showing, and it is not showing any uncompatible thing. So these are all we have available, and these are all compatible. So what we can do? We can do the cloning. So for doing the cloning, first we have to generate the list, the config file, DC clone config file we have to generate, and that we have to generate by the command new addc clone config file. We want to do it statically. Then we configure the IPv4 address for the clone machine. So let's say I want to give the IP address for the clone machine is this IP. Then we configure the clone computer name, the the machine which is after cloning, what name we want to give. So I want to give VDC2. Then we will mention IP gateway. So if we have any gateway, so we will mention the gateway also. Then we mention the DNS server IP resolver, IP for the DNS server we have. IPv4 subnet mask. And also we can mention the site name. Now default site name, by default we don't have any site, we have not created any site. So by default the site name will always be the default site name, a default first site name. So the default site name will always be the default first site name if you have not configured any site. So I have given this command. Now this command will do what? It will generate the clone config file, and that file will be .xml file, and that file will help this machine to do the cloning. Previously, in previous versions of Windows, we can still do the cloning, but we can't do the make the machine member of the same domain. It was not possible. For doing that, we have to remove the special unique ID of the machine by using the sysprep. For that, we have to run the sysprep, and then we have to remove the unique identification of the machine if we want to join the machine to the same domain. Now we can do this by using this clone config file. It will do it for us, and it will do it everything for us automatically. So first we have to generate this config file. And it is generated here. Okay, now what happened here when we run the command, it is to generate the adconfig file, clone config file, and it says one of our parameters validation check failed, the clone config file will not be generated. Now it is not generating the file because it is saying what, when we run the command to check the available the compatible applications, list of compatible applications, so it shows these applications here, and these applications are not compatible, it is to be excluded. And even if you want to use these applications, then it says here that the clone impact, then either remove these applications, you check this command and check the clone impact of those applications, and then either remove them from the source domain controller or add them to the exclude the custom DC clone allow list.xml file. So we have to add the list of these applications which is not compatible, we have to add them into the list of custom clone DC clone allow list XML file, then we can generate this clone config file. So how we can generate this? When we run this command, it generates the list here which is not compatible for doing the cloning. So what we do, we add them into a file. We'll give the option generate XML file, and we have to generate this into the C drive, system drive, in the system drive in the NTDS folder. It is going to check there, so we have to generate it there under the NTDS folder. And then I will make it to do it forcefully so that it will do forcefully. So what it will do, it will generate, this command will generate the list, and then what it will do, it will put the list into the directory Windows NTDS, as a name of the file will be this custom DC clone allow list.xml file. So I will run this command, and now it says the inclusion list was written to C Windows NTDS folder as a custom DC clone allow list.xml. So it has been added there. We can verify that. We can go to C drive, Windows, under the NTDS folder, and under the NTDS folder we can see the file custom DC clone allow list file, and it is an XML file, and in that we have all the list of apps which we want to allow them for cloning. And this is XML file. So this is the XML file, and it has all those application names here. Okay, now we have generated the list, then we can now create the config file again. So we'll run this command again to create the new ADDC clone config file and see what happens now. Now what happens here? The command runs successfully. It says no valid clone configuration file were found previously. So it is creating the new file. All primary validation checks passed. Then starting the creation of the clone configuration file, finding the path to the directory service database, and the clone configuration file was generated at the same C Windows NTDS folder. And this is the DC clone config file. It is created under the same directory C Windows NTDS. This directory is the database directory for the Active Directory. So when we do the cloning, so it will get the file from this location. Now after doing this, what we will do, we will export this file, and for that we will shut down this file. We will shut down this server, and then what, we will export the server. So I will do what, I will shut down this server now. I will shut down this virtual server, and then what I will do, I will export the server, and then we can import as many time as we want. So when we import, we will see a small wizard, and we have to complete that wizard to do the cloning. So first we have to export the machine, and it will take a little time to export the machine first. So for exporting this virtual machine, we'll go to the settings of this virtual machine and we select the exporting. Exporting, that means we are exporting the machine to a storage from where we can import the machine whenever we want. It is just like taking a backup. Now what it is saying, where you want to store the exported file. So I'm going to store into my C drive, and you have to make sure you have enough space for it. So I'm going to create a new, okay, I have this VM. I will create new directory here for my clone DC, and here I'm going to export it. Now this machine is exporting. It will take a little time to export depending on the size of the data we have on that machine. So it will take the time accordingly. And then after exporting this, we can import again into the same virtual machine, same Hyper-V, and we can import the virtual machine as a clone. So we have to wait for it to be complete the exporting. It will take a little time. Now the machine is exported and it has been saved under this directory, under this C drive, virtual machines, VMs, and under this I have created the clone DC directory, and under that we have this server exported here with the virtual disk and all the configuration file also. Now we want to import it. Now if we want to do the clone, so we will do what? We will import that virtual machine again into the Hyper-V. Now we can do what? We can import as many times as we want, and we can create as many clone as we want. Now for that, what we will do here, we will go on to select import virtual machine from our Hyper-V server. Whether we can import it on this Hyper-V or we can import it on any other Hyper-V and any other Hyper-V within the domain. So it will be a member of the domain. So we are going to import it. So we click on this import virtual machine from the Hyper-V manager. It opens this wizard for importing the virtual machine. It says the wizard helps you to import the virtual machine from set of configuration files, and it guides you through the resolving configuration problems to prepare the virtual machine for use of this computer. Let's do that now. So let's go on to select first the folder where we have exported the machine. So I will browse and select the folder under C drive, under VM. I have exported the machine into this folder. Now when I press next, okay, it is saying there is no virtual machine there. So I have to go on to select this, and then it is showing that this is the virtual machine there, VMDC1. It was created on this date and time. That means exported on this date and time. Now we'll do what? We'll go on to go next. Now it is saying choose the import, choose the type of import to perform. First, register the virtual machine in place, that is use the existing unique ID. Every machine, every Windows machine has their own unique ID. So we can choose the machine to do the in place. Now in place, that means it will use the existing unique ID. Now existing unique ID, that means it is going to use the same ID it was using previously. We will do this thing when we are actually doing the backup. We are recovering the virtual machine. That means the original one is destroyed and we know we don't have the original one, it is corrupted or destroyed, and we are getting it from the exported file. So we will use the same unique ID. Or we can restore the virtual machine, use the existing unique ID. That means we are doing, this one is what? Restoring the machine. This one will be the registering the machine. And then this one says copy the virtual machine, create a unique ID, new unique ID. Now in this case, what we are doing, we are copying the machine. In both first two cases, what we are doing, we are using the same existing unique ID. Now remember the process of the existing unique ID. This is the process for that unique identifier. So when you start the virtual machine after copying it, it checks the unique identifier whether it is exists or not, and based on that it will do this whole process. But because we are doing the cloning, we have the existing machine is already there, and we want to create the new machine here, a clone machine. So we will do what? We will select copy here, because we are actually doing copy. We are creating the clone, and it will create a new unique ID, and it will do it by using the clone config file. So we'll go on to press next here, and then store the virtual machine in different location. By default it is going to be stored into the same location as we have configured the Hyper-V. So it is going to store there, and if you want, then you can choose to have a different location here. I will not choose, I will go with the default location. And then where do you want to store the imported virtual hard disk for the virtual machine? You can select that. It is going to be the default place. If you want, then you can choose the different way, different directory. Now it is giving me the error. Now why it is giving me the error? Because the virtual hard disk vdc1.vhdx is already there in this location, because the original virtual DC is still there. We have not removed it. It was not removed. So what I will do, I will choose another path for this imported virtual machine, clone virtual machine. So I will do what? I will select another location for it. I will choose this directory for that, and maybe I should choose another location for all these files. So that it will not do any conflict with the original one. So I choose to store it in a different location, and virtual disk is also going to be in a different location. And now this is the summary we have selected, and now we will do finish to import the virtual machine. And it is now doing the copy of the virtual hard disk. Now it is imported, it has copied the virtual disk, and it has now imported. And now we will try to start this. And this one is starting now. And it will now start, and we can use this machine as we have using the previous machine. So this is will be the new clone machine now. So just like this, we can create as many as clone we want. We have the imported disk there, we have the imported virtual machine there, and now what? We can import as many time as we want. We can import that machine as many time as we want, and it will work. It is still starting the system, and it will do the finalizing of the cloning process. It will take a little time to start the system. Now this clone machine is started, and what you can see here, the machine name which we have configured in the DC clone config file, it was VDC2 which we have configured, and it is also a domain controller. We can see and also the IP addresses which we have configured for this clone. We can see the IP addresses which we have configured. The same IP addresses which we have configured for this clone, and the name for the clone which we have configured in the clone config file. So everything is properly configured, and this machine has become now the clone, and also it is having the Active Directory. So domain, this is a domain controller, it is a clone of the domain controller. Now same as this process, we can do what? We can create multiple clones. We can create multiple clones we want. And under the domain controllers, now we can see this VDC2 is also added. In previous versions of Windows, we can still do the cloning, but without the domain controller. We can't do the cloning of domain controller. And if even we do the cloning, then we can't add it into the same domain controller in a same domain. But now we can add it into the same domain. As you can see, this is VDC2 and this is the clone of this VDC1. But still it can be added into the same domain. It can be added into the same domain as a domain controller. So it is the way we do what? We can easily deploy multiple domain controller by just cloning them. So we have the exported file, so we can import the machine every time, whenever we want. We can import this, and we can import as many times we want, and we can create as many clones we want. So this is the cloning of domain controller, and this is the process of cloning the domain controller.